Hello, everyone. We'll be starting momentarily, okay? Sorry for the delay.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bridgewater.
Good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing well.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Judge. I see everyone is muted. Are you all not allowed to unmute yourselves?
Yes.
Yes, we can unmute.
Okay, all
I
right.
can unmute you.
Okay. I had a little note that's saying that you all could not unmute, but since we're unmuted, I guess we're ready to get started. And again, I apologize for the delay.
Happy New Year, Miss Holly.
Happy New Year, everybody. For the Dog Nations, congratulations.
I'm sorry?
For the Dog Nation out there, congratulations on the championship.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I know. There you go. We got some
Go dogs.
dogs out there. Go dogs. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to change my view. Okay.
And let me say this, Judge, before we get started, the
Yes,
reset
ma'am.
date for the SAP calendar is January the 24th.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them, and the cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to address matters such as bond, possible arraignment, and a possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. Also be providing those persons on this calendar with a reset date for arraignment or other reset issues. And as Ms. Bridgewater has stated, that reset date is January the 24th, 2023. To get used to saying that. I'm going to begin and advise everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, and govern yourselves accordingly. I also want to remind the defendants on this calendar that you do have certain constitutional rights. The first one being that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say about the facts and the circumstances or any of the occurrences regarding your case can and will be held against you. So listen to your attorneys and do not state anything against your interest. You also have a right to have counsel at this proceeding, and most of you know who your attorneys are, and so let them represent you well. All right, we'll get started. Let's see. Where are we starting, deputies?
Courtroom 3, position number 5, Monica Brown.
All right. This is case number 23 CR 0000144F. State versus Monica Brown. You're charged with 1 count of theft by taking, the 2nd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. The offense date is January the 8th, 2023. Pre-trial?
8 total. Last was 2019 for obstruction, 2 counts of simple battery against police. 2018, 2 counts of disorderly conduct. 2018, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, dead docket. 2017, 2 counts of battery conviction. 2016, shoplifting conviction.
All right. State?
Thank you, Your Honor. On January the 8th, Officer K. Minor was dispatched to 985 Hill Street Following reports of someone matching the defendant's description being caught on video taking groceries from the front porch of that home. While searching the area, officers stopped the defendant and gave her several commands to stop. The defendant refused and proceeded to run down Atlanta Avenue. Officer Minor was able to catch up to the defendant and sexually place her in custody. As pretrial stated, she does have an open obstruction with the 2 counts of simple battery against a police officer. That case number is 19 SC 167820. It looks like the defendant also is currently being held on a warrant taken out on 9/21/2020 following a failure to appear in that same case. The state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond. That's $2,000 on the theft by taking and $1,000 on the willful obstruction. We are also asking for a no further contact with the homeowner, Lakeisha Houston. That's LAQUESHA, Houston, common spelling, as well as a stay away from the 985 Hill Street address. We are also asking for a a theft class and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing.
All right. And PD, whose case is this?
Yes, Judge Attorney Sarah Armstrong, on behalf of the defendant.
Okay.
Judge, Ms. Brown reports being homeless and unemployed, so we'd be asking for a signature bond in this case. Thank you.
All right. I am going to order that the surety bond amount would be on the first charge for the theft by taking $1,000 and on the willful obstruction $500. So that will be a $1,500 surety bond. I'm going to order a stay away from the 985 Hill Street address. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Lakeisha, is it Houston or Houston?
Houston, Your Honor.
Houston. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that will conclude the ruling.
Your Honor, what's the total amount?
1,500, 1,500 surety.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Good afternoon, Judge Mency. Next, we have position number 10, Mr. McKibben.
Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say, good afternoon, Judge Mency, and we're gonna breeze through this quick, aren't we? Because we got a lot of people.
I see. I didn't know if these were.
Yeah, we got 2 full courtrooms, so we're gonna do this, Judge.
As they say, Happy New Year to you as
Happy
well.
New Year.
I get it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and this is position 12.
Position
10, I believe he said.
10.
Oh, 10.
I'm sorry,
See how you got me going there? All right,
Yeah.
position 10.
No,
All right.
no, you're right. It's position 12, Mr. McKibben's.
Oh.
Apologies.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mr. McKibbins. Okay. This is 23 CR 0000167D. Dominic McKibbins, you're charged with 1 count of possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under the age of 18 and reckless conduct. The offense date, January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial?
I defer to the state. I don't have the history because my coworker got it. Because I guess the defendant must have went to felony earlier.
Okay. And what did you say before that? My volume is
No.
going in and out.
That the defendant went to felony first appearance earlier.
Oh, I thought you had a number of former arrests. You don't even know that, correct?
No, I'm gonna have to go get the file.
Okay, don't worry about it. Let me see what the state has.
But I'll go get it. I'll get the information and tell you what the felony bond was. I'll be back though.
Okay, all right, thank you. State?
Good morning, Your Honor. Mr. McKibben is co-defendants with position number 21, Torrance
Okay.
Taylor. On January the 10th of 2023, officers gained knowledge that Mr. Dominique McKibbins was in the area of 30.
I can't hear what's going on. I'm sorry. And I'm here for Dominique, but I can't hear you guys.
Yeah, the volume is kind of low. I've been trying to turn mine up as well. Hold on one second, Mr. Jordan. I don't know who my Zoom master is today.
Give me a second, I'll check on it, okay?
Yes, I think
Can you
there
hear me
may
now?
be some. Yeah,
Okay.
the volume is very low for me as well. And at one point with pretrial, it was kind of going in and out. I'm not sure if there's something else going on. Let's make sure so we can hear everybody.
I can hear you just
Saying-
fine, Your Honor.
You
Yeah,
can
I-
hear fine, Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your
Can you
Honor.
hear me, Judge?
Here now.
I can barely hear ASG Rogers though.
I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me now?
You all can hear us? Okay, let's, well, Miss Bridgewater stepped away, so hold on one second.
I'm here, I'm here.
Okay, all right, I think we're all miraculously, when you got up, we started hearing better. So I don't know if that did it or not.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, ASG Rogers.
On January the 10th of 2023, officers arrived in the area of 3041 Landrum Drive Southwest. They received intel that Mr. McKibbins was in the area. He was wanted for auto theft out of the city of Atlanta. Officer observed Mr. McKibbins along with Corey Dumas in that area. They approached Mr. McKibbins and he ran. They did apprehend Mr. McKibbins, and another officer found a Glock 23 40 caliber with an extended clip hid underneath the stairwell, underneath a piece of wood. While talking to officers, Mr. McKibbin uttered that he placed that firearm there and he did not throw the firearm. It is to be noted that Mr. McKibbins was arrested for hijacking and armed robbery in juvenile court in 2019. For that reason, we view Mr. McKibbins as a danger to the community, especially with the current gun violence that's going on in the areas of Atlanta, and the state requests a $25,000 surety bond in this case, Your Honor, and no weapons, guns, drugs, or alcohol while all on bond also.
Judge, check
All
your
right.
chat.
I'm sorry?
Check your chat.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mr.
Good
McKibbin,
afternoon, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Judge.
Good.
Mr. McKibbin is only 17 years old. He tells me that he is a student at Thorell High School and he lives at home with his mom. He's trying to finish up high school. He also tells me that he had a job, but he hasn't been working recently. He denies that he had the gun, Your Honor. He said he ran just because it was the police, but that he did not make any kind of confession about having the gun, and he did not have the gun. If the court gives him a $25,000 bond, he's not going to be able to bond out because he's not working. And his mom, who he lives with, does not have anywhere near the kind of money to post a bond for him. So I would ask the court to take that into consideration in any bond that is being set. I believe his mom is on the Zoom as well, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McKibbins, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I would swear you in and allow you to testify. But the first question I have for you before I do that is, were you at the scene or near this incident?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
You were near the incident?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so who resides is 3041 Landrum Drive, a home?
It's an apartment complex. Yes, ma'am. It's where we live.
That's where you live. Okay, you can put your hand down for me. And so I'm going to be very limited in your testimony because this is not his trial. This is a bond hearing. And so As far as a victim, I don't believe that the state gave me a victim of sorts, but certainly the citizens of Fulton County deserve to be safe from gunfire, things of that nature. So what is it that you briefly would like to tell me?
I just would like to say that Dominique wasn't doing anything in the time of his arrest. The officers were there on call for some young men that broke into one of my neighbor's cars and stole some things out of my neighbor's cars. They came out, they looked for those gentlemen. They weren't able to find those gentlemen. And then they approached my son and also my nephew, Torrance Taylor, as well. So they detained both of them for, I guess, their previous record of whatever they had. But Dominique has been doing what he needed to do, following all of his probationary guidelines and things of that nature. And he was just simply walking to the trash can with his cousin when the police came and grabbed them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any cross-examination by the state at all?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further from you, Ms. McLeod?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I am going to order a $10,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond if he makes bond. I'm going to not necessarily order that stay away from Landrum Drive because he's 17 and that's his home and his mother resides there. So I assume that she would want him to come home if he makes bond. So at this point, I will do a $10,000 surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to add to my order a curfew in case there is bond, and usually from 7 p.m., maybe 8 p.m. until 7 a.m. So 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. If he is out, he should be in the house for the curfew. And since
Would
I
you break
heard,
that bond down, Judge? Yes, two
oh, I'm
charges.
sorry. Yes, let me do 8,000 on the gun and 2,000 on the reckless.
Thank you.
And also I'm going to order that if he makes bond, that he go to school and keep up with his education. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have, Your Honor, is position 20-20, Mr. Russell.
That is Jonathan. Your Honor, before we go to position 20, the state asked if we could hear position 22, which is the co-defendant in the defendant's case.
We'll have to ask the jail. Sometimes we have to go by their order. ASG Lewis.
Mr. Zachary.
Deputy, are you prepared to do 22 before
Yes.
20 or not?
Yes, we can do them. Position 22, correct?
Okay, yes.
I'm sorry, not 22, position 21 is Taylor, excuse me.
Oops. This is the
Taylor.
new year here. We're
Sorry.
getting it together. That's okay. 21 and then 20. If we could do them in that order, Deputy.
Okay.
Okay.
This
So
is
21 is Torrance Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. Are you ready for me to begin, or are we gonna do pre-trial first?
No, I'm going to announce the case first. It's 23 CR 0000176G, State versus Torrance Taylor. He's charged with 1 count of giving false information to law enforcement, 2nd count of reckless conduct, 3rd count, 2 counts of giving false information, and 1 count of reckless conduct, all with the offense date of January 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
His third adult arrest.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we got. Last arrest was 2021. These are all felony charges. Theft by receiving, possession of a knife or a firearm during a commission, sale of marijuana, aggravated assault, possession of a pistol or revolver by person under 18 years of age, 2 counts. The possession by a person under 18 was not prosecuted. 2021 felony theft by receiving. You want his juvie charge?
I do not.
All right. Well, he got open case though. The open theft by receiving, sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm during the commission. Aggravated assault, that's 22 SC 185520. Theft by receiving, criminal street gang activity, 21 CP 197198. That's it.
All right, thank you. And who's the PD on this? I'm sorry, Ms. Lewis, you're the ASG?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead, you may proceed.
Good afternoon. So officers were conducting a patrol in the area of 3041 Landrum Drive when they received intel that a suspect in a prior case was in the area. The officers moved in to apprehend the suspects, and the suspects continued walking in the opposite direction. Officer Smith observed Taylor reach into his pocket and toss a cell phone and a black firearm in the breezeway of the apartment complex. He also detained Taylor and searched him, finding a loaded 9mm caliber magazine. Taylor told the officer that his name was Tarius Taylor and that his date of birth was May 23rd, 2005. Officer Smith checked his MDT, and the picture that was provided did not resemble Tarius Taylor. Officer Smith utilized his fingerprint scanner to positively ID Mr. Taylor, who is formerly known as Torrance McKibbins, and his actual date of birth is January 7, 2004. Your Honor, Mr. Taylor has a history of auto thefts as a juvenile and weapon possessions. He is currently out on bond and violating the conditions of the said bond, which state no firearms. And for that reason, the state is recommending a $10,000 cash bond for the reckless conduct charge, as well as a $3,000 surety bond for both the other cases, $1,500 for both other charges. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Say that again on your recommendation. You said 3,000. I'm sorry, you said 10,000 cash on the reckless, and what was for the other 2 charges? What was your recommendation?
$3,000 surety bond total for the other 2 counts. And then
So that would be
drugs or weapons.
$1,500 each,
Yes, ma'am.
cash or
Surety.
surety. Okay. All right.
I'm Torrance's mother as well. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm his mom as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. All right. And who's representing Mr.
I am,
Torrance?
Your Honor.
Okay. It's McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Torrance Taylor is 19 years old. He is the father of a 1-year-old son who lives with him and with his mom, he tells me. So he is the primary caretaker for this child. He is not employed at the moment, although he is looking for work. He is really not in a position to pay a bond at this time, Your Honor, because he simply does not have any money. He denies that he had a gun in his possession or the allegations that he tossed a gun, Your Honor. He says that that is untrue. That was all stuff that was made up by the officer. I would ask the court to set a reasonable bond for him so that he can get out of jail and continue to take care of his child. These are allegations. Nothing has been proved against him, Your Honor. I don't believe I heard anything which says that he has any convictions. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I've heard from the mom, Miss McGibbons, and I normally don't at this point need to get any additional information. I think I have a good feel for it unless there was a victim, and that's usually who we hear from. So Miss McGibbons, if you could mute yourself, I'm going to go ahead and rule on this case unless you have something very urgent to add, and I'm assuming that there's probably not much else. I'll give you a few seconds.
Just the fact that no one reached out to me in regards of Torrance. I haven't spoke with any of the attorneys or anything about Torrance, so I didn't get to even let them even speak on my son's behalf. So I didn't get a chance to speak to his attorney that was appointed towards him. But I also want to make it clear that Torrance has juvenile charges, but none in adult court. So all of those are juvenile charges. And yes, he is a full-time, and I'm watching his child while he's incarcerated right now at this moment. So yes, I would recommend that Torrance be granted some leniency. He was not doing anything, committing any crimes, just walking to the trash can. That's all they were doing, walking to the trash can.
All
That's
right,
it.
thank you.
Your Honor, if I could briefly just advise to the court that juvenile history is admissible at bond hearings under 15-11-703.
All right. Does the state want to give me the juvie or pretrial?
I think Ms. Lewis stated earlier, but I believe it's carjacking or vehicle theft, but I'll let Ms. Lewis speak to that.
I know that was for the other, for the
In
co-defendant.
2018, he had a arrest for hijacking a motor vehicle as well as a robbery charge.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else from council?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I'm going to grant a split bond. And with that split bond, I'm going to on the first charge of giving false information, I'm going to order a $5,000 surety bond. On the reckless conduct, I'm going to order a $5,000 signature bond. Through the jail. And then on the third charge, $5,000 surety bond. So that's a split bond of $10,000 surety on charges 1 and 3. And a $5,000 signature bond on charge 2, which is the reckless. And that's a signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I guess I won't do a stay away since it appears that he lives at that address on Landrum Drive. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, that'll conclude the ruling.
Position 20, Mr. Russell.
All right, this is 23 CR 000-164H, Jonathan Russell. You charge of 1 count of simple battery, 2nd count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, offense date January the 10th, 2023. Pretrial?
First.
I didn't hear you pretrial.
First arrest.
First arrest, okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, state. You're muted.
Ms. Lewis.
Sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
Officers reported to the location of 7405 Herndon Road, which is Creekside High School, where they met with Mr. Derek Lillard, who was a teacher at that school. He stated that at the beginning of class, he asked all the students to put their phones away, to which Mr. Russell refused. Mr. Lillard then repeated his request to Mr. Russell, and yet again, Mr. Russell refused. Mr. Lillard then looked down his hallway and could see CSA Weekly and called for his assistants to remove Mr. Russell from his classroom. CSA Weekly asked Mr. Russell to leave the classroom, and as Mr. Russell was leaving, he pushed Mr. Lillard out of the door. After Mr. Russell pushed Mr. Lillard, Lillard called for a school administrator. CSA Weekly stated that once Russell was outside the classroom and up the hallway, he returned back and exchanged more words with Mr. Lillard. CSA Weekly stepped in between Mr. Lillard and Mr. Russell said, "Stop touching him," in an aggressive way. Officer Green was then called, and once he arrived, he observed the assistant principal Bynum instructing Russell to walk towards her. And Russell was ignoring her and was walking in the opposite direction towards the gym. Officer Green then asked Russell to stop and turn around, to which Russell refused. When Officer Green attempted to guide him towards Assistant Principal Bynum, Russell got aggressive with Officer Green by pushing and pulling away from him. Officer Green then had to unholster his taser to gain control or compliance of Russell. This is the first offense for Mr. Russell, but because of the aggressiveness, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, 1 day anger awareness, and a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Nothing further, Your Honor.
We will also ask for no further violent contact with the victim.
Give me the victims again. I heard several. I don't know how many victims we have.
We have Mr. Derek Lillard, who is a teacher at Creekside. We have CSA Weekly. We have Assistant.
I'm sorry, say the second one.
CSA Weekly. In the police report, we did not have a first name for him. And then we also
And you're
have
saying a GSA?
C as in Charlie, SA. I'm assuming this is some kind of resource officer at the school. And
So
then-
how is he a victim?
Excuse me. No. Ms. Gaston, you've not been given any authority to speak or any permission to speak. So we're going to mute you. Mute yourself. You are not to be speaking. And you're not to interrupt us in that manner. Ms. Lewis, go back. It says CSA and the last name again?
Weekly, and that's spelled WEEKLEY.
All right.
And
then
then
you
we
had a
also
third.
have Officer Green.
Okay. And then Officer Green. Okay. All right. And so you recommended a $1,000 surety bond. And I'm assuming, is that $500 on each charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, when you have multiple charges, break it down for me with your recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And who's representing Mr. Wilson, Mr. Russell? I'm sorry. Oh,
PD
okay.
Kim.
PD Kim,
Yes.
thank you.
Your Honor, Mr. Russell is 17 years old and he was born and raised here in Georgia. And Your Honor, he has a learning disability and autism. That's why he is currently still a 9th grade in his high school. Your Honor, there was no violence. It's basically misunderstanding. He was trying to follow the direction. There was no actual pushing in a sense. It was accidentally, maybe they may have run into each other. However, I'm not here to argue the facts of the case. I'm here to defend that my client should get signature on bond. His mother's here online, Irene Getson, and his grandmother, Elaine Boyd. They are willing to co-sign his bond so he can come home and go to continuously educate at his high school. So that's it, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Thanks.
All right, I see, it looks like Irina Gaston, and I also see Ms. Boswell. So that is the mother and the grandmother for the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I normally, because they would not have been at the school, I'm assuming when this happened. And I'm going to tread real light, and I'm looking at Ms. Gaston's motions and demeanor on the screen, which I'm not excited about, which tells me that I may not open the door to allow her to testify because I don't have to at this point allow her to do that because she's not one of the victims in the case. And I can only imagine what she's probably going to tell me, her version of how she thinks it happened. But I don't believe Ms. Gaston was on the scene, nor Ms. Boswell. So I'm not going to get into that testimony because that is not what I need at this point to make a bond hearing. I understand that he's 17 and he's still in high school. Is that correct, PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And he obviously lives at home with his parents.
Yes, actually, mother and grandmother, Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry, mother and grandmother. Okay. All right. That's all that I need for this bond hearing at this point. Hold on 1 second. Let me check something. All right, I'm going to grant a signature bond per the judge. And the amounts for that signature bond is going to be $3,000. And that signature bond will be through pretrial. And that will be $1,500 on each of the charges. And I'm going to order a and this may be a question. I don't know at this point if I should allow Mr. Russell to go back to the school while this is an open case or pending, although I understand that he would need an education. And I can tell from Ms. Gaston, it would not, she's shaking her head no, that you don't want him to go back right now while the case is pending. Okay. And so I'm going to order a stay away from Creekside High School at 7405 Herndon Road. And I'm going to order no further contact with the victims, Derek Lilliard, the teacher, CSA Walker, and Officer Green. No further contact with them or do not go around them. And I'm not trying to deny him his right to an education, but until we can sort this out, I think it would be best. And maybe Miss Gaston can contact the school to get any work that he may need to do in the interim, so that he won't get too far behind with his assignments while he has to stay away from the school. And of course, PD Kim, you're aware you can apply for modification if that needs to be modified at a later date as you go forward. But again, that will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial.
You waiving the utility
Let me
bill?
ask this pretrial, they need to sign.
The mother don't have to go to intake unit and sign.
Okay. And Ms. Gaston, you can go to the intake unit at the jail. You'll have to have your proper ID. And then she
Okay.
also need a utility bill.
Unless you want to waive it.
Okay, do
I
you
put
have
the
a
address
utility?
in the chat for her too.
I'm sorry?
I put the address in the chat for the mother.
Okay, let's see.
Well, I sent it to her. I didn't.
Oh, okay. Ms. Gaston, can you look at your chat?
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you put in place a curfew?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes,
Thank
I need to do that curfew from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. All right, you've answered him, Ms. Gaston. I think she's doing it now.
Hello,
Yes,
I'm the grandmother,
yes.
and how much we gonna need to get him out?
They will speak to you about that. It's a signature bond through the jail. So there's a signature bond.
Pre-trial.
So it will come through pretrial, and Miss Gaston, the mom, will be co-signing on that bond. There's no monetary amount due.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And looks like Miss Gaston has gotten off and she can go do that. She can go to the jail to pick him up.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome. All right, is that it for that case? All right,
Position number 6, Burke.
okay. This is 23 CR 0000175E, Ronald Burke, charged at 1 count of fair evasion and 2nd count of criminal trespass. January the 10th, 2023 is the offense date. Pre-trial.
Yeah, one thing, what was the mother's first name?
Her first name was, hold on a second, I wrote it down. I want to say it was
Irina.
Irina, IRENA.
Okay.
Is that right, Ms. Boswell?
Yes, ma'am. She needs to leave now.
She can.
Oh,
Judge, this is the first arrest for Burke.
First arrest for Burke, okay.
yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Boswell.
Thank you. So I
Uh-huh.
can hang up?
Yes, you can hang up now. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Burke, first arrest, state.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 10th of 2023, where officers responded to the MARTA station located at 235 Peachtree Street, and they observed the defendant push through the fare gate without paying the required fee. They conducted a suspension check where they found that the defendant was previously issued a suspension from that location on November 18th. So the state is going to ask for a $2,000 signature bond, $1,000 for each charge, and a stay away order from the MARTA station at 235 Peachtree Street.
Okay. All right, Ms. Armstrong, PD Armstrong.
Yes, Judge, thanks so much. This is Mr. Burke's first arrest. Of course, we'd be asking for a signature bond in this matter with any conditions you deem necessary. He has a full-time job at an upscale retail store. He is 25 years old. He's attended some college. He's originally from Miami, but moved to Atlanta because of the work opportunities here. Once again, this is a fair evasion. He has no violent criminal history. And it's my understanding that the MARTA machine wasn't working and he did not have notice to not be at a MARTA location. So we're asking for a signature bond. Thanks.
All right. All right, I will grant the $2,000 signature bond. I will grant that through pretrial. And that will be 1,000 on each. I'm going to order Mr. Burke, you are to stay away from the Peachtree Street MARTA. I would ban you from all MARTA. And I know you may have to use MARTA to get around, but you cannot obviously jump the fare on the MARTA. And you had a previous suspension from November. So you're gonna have to use Uber or other ride shares to get around. Or if you have to use MARTA in that Peachtree Street location, you cannot avoid that, then you're going to have to do what you need to do to not get right back in jail. All right? All right. So I'm sorry?
Judge, can I make a comment?
You probably shouldn't. Your attorney's going to tell you not to.
Correct. I would advise against it, Mr. Burke. You have a signature bond.
All right, for $2,000 through pretrial. And again, the stay away from the we'll keep it to the Peachtree Center, Peachtree Street address for now. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're on bond.
And Your Honor, I don't know if the current MARTA suspension is still in order, but if it is, he will obviously have to stay away from all locations. So
do we have any information, ASG Dillingham, on that?
Yes, Your Honor, the current order expires in February of this year.
So it goes through February?
Yes.
But it only says that one station, not all MARTA?
no,
Correct.
the suspensions are for all MARTAs. So
Okay.
we were asking that once the suspension through MARTA expires, that he stays away from that particular MARTA. But MARTA suspensions are for the entire MARTA system, which would be through February.
Okay. All right, so let me correct myself on that, counsel and Mr. Burke. You're to stay away from all MARTA. You have a current suspension that runs through February. Ours would overlap as well as pick up from there while you're on bond for this case. So as long as you're on bond with this case, as well as the present suspension, you're to stay away from all MARTA. And you will have to find other means of transportation rather than MARTA right now. And if you go there, they're just going to arrest you again. So I suggest you cooperate with this bond and not go back to MARTA until this bond has been lifted or your case has been resolved. All right. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Position number 2, Ms. Ballard. Courtroom 3, Ms. Ballard, position number 3.
Okay. I don't know that I see you. Oh, I see. Okay, there you go. Usually I can see you and I can tell. Thank you. All right. This is case number 23 CR 000162C. Ms. Ballard, you're charged with 1 count of battery. I think it's Shanakwa, but I don't want to mispronounce it. The offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
7 total. Last arrest was in August. False statements or writings, false report of theft or conversion of a motor vehicle. That's open. Before that was May, cruelty in the 3rd, simple battery, family violence, open. And a 2015 suspended license, no load. Before that was in the 90s. That's it.
Okay. All right, ASG Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yesterday, during an altercation, the defendant violently ripped out several locks of a Miss Kiera Wallace's hair. That's Kiera, Q-U-I-E-R-A, Wallace, common spelling. We would like to point out, Your Honor, this is not the first time the defendant has been arrested for violent offenses. She does have a 1998 arrest for simple battery, as well as a 2002 arrest for simple battery family violence. As pretrial stated, she also does have an open false statements case, which is 22 CP 211151. The state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Kiera Wallace, a stay away from the incident location of 1161 Ira Street, 1 day of anger awareness, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, PD Armstrong.
Thank you, Judge. I first want to address the 1161 Iris Street. That is the location at which the defendant lives by herself. So we would ask her not to impose a stay away from her own home. With respect to the criminal history, we understand that that's, we take notice of the criminal history. However, in this situation, my client was essentially assaulted with a knife, and this was a matter of self-defense. The state has not established that they've had any contact with the alleged victim in this case. My client is a home care provider. She is indigent. We were asking on her to set a signature bond in this case, and if not that, nothing more than $1,000.
Ms. Armstrong, do we know Ms. Ballard and Ms. Wallace are roommates? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, given the state's accusation, she's not been charged with battery family violence, so there appears to be no theory of co-mingling or co-living. My client reports living by herself. It's my understanding that this alleged victim was somebody that a family friend knew, but there's absolutely no indication that they lived together, and this is my client's home where she was by herself.
Your Honor, if I may, the state will amend its stay away request to simply blanketly say from Ms. Wallace's home address, if that's okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to grant the $5,000 surety bond. And I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Kiera Wallace. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that should do it.
Ms. Armstrong, your client has a question.
I'm sorry? Depends. I don't know. Defer to your attorney, Ms. Armstrong.
I'm happy to call the courtroom if that's an option. I don't want her asking the question on the record or within earshot of everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Ballard, you can hold your question. Your attorney will get in contact with you later, okay? All right.
Position
Next.
3, Bell.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000166B. Mario Bell, charged with 1 count of harassing communications, offense date 11/2/2021. Pre-trial.
He got over 40 cycles. I'm just gonna give you the probation stuff. He's on probation in Fulton, interference with government property, terroristic threat. It's 19 SC 170427. On probation for robbery. And another robbery. What else we got here? Burglary in the first degree. That's 15 SC 138523. Also on probation for entering auto theft by receiving 14 SC 142611. Was another burglary with that as well. And possession of meth and drug related objects out of Clayton County. That's enough, right?
Yes, go ahead, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I would like to put on the record that this offense date is a range. It is from November 2nd of 2021, to November 17th of 2021. While incarcerated in Fulton County Jail, the defendant came to know an
Okay.
Ayanna Young.
I'm trying to figure out where to turn up my volume.
Yes, we can hear you.
Your Honor, I think you muted yourself.
I think she's on the phone.
Hold on a second. Go ahead, ASG Todd. I'm listening. I was talking to IT for a second, but I'm done. Go ahead.
My apologies. I'll
My
start all the way over. I would like to state on the record that the offense date is a range, not just one day. It starts at November 2nd, 2021 and goes through November 17th of 2021. While incarcerated at Fulton County Jail, the defendant became to know an Ayanna Young, that's Iyana, Young, common spelling, who worked at the Fulton County DA's office. While he was in jail, the defendant began to call Mrs. Young's work phone number. She advised him not to call her and that he needed to contact his attorney. Upon release, the defendant continued to call her work phone number, but also began calling her cell phone. The defendant also showed up at the district attorney's office in an attempt to find Miss Young. The defendant also found Miss Young's social media page and began contacting her that way. In total, it's estimated the defendant placed over 100 calls to Miss Young. As pretrial said, he does have an extensive record with over 40 cycles dating back to 2006. That includes 21 convictions with 5 FTAs, 6 probation violations, including a revocation that actually was just enacted this year on cases 19 SC 170427 and 21 SC 177447. The defendant also is mainly here today because of his harassment of Ms. Young, and that there is ample reason to believe that he'll continue harassing her once he is released. The state is asking for a $10,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Ayanna Young or anyone at the DA's office unless it is concerning official business, and a stay away from the DA's office unless it is concerning official business, as well as no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
And the address will be 136?
Yes, Your Honor.
Prior Street?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
3rd floor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, it's just trying to get the address for the stay away.
Really, we could just put 136 prior, because I think the DA's office has multiple floors, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, but I think the public floor, the place where, if you were to go there, unless you're gonna give me all the floors, or I'm gonna say the courthouse unless he has any
Well,
official
we could say the
business.
courthouse unless he has official business would be the state's position.
Okay. All right, PD Armstrong,
Yes, Judge, we ask you set whatever bond you deem appropriate in this matter.
and let me ask one last question, ASG Todd. So I'm assuming Mr. Bell has a case with the DA's office, but he was harassing the victim, Miss Young.
There was a case pending in Fulton County's DA's office against him, Your Honor, and that was at the point where he came to know Miss Young. I do believe my victim advocate did speak to her earlier. He has actually known Miss Young for quite a few years. However, during the proceeding of that case, he found out she worked there and was trying to get in contact with her to see if he could kind of cut himself a deal.
Ah, okay.
She gave me her cell phone number.
We haven't asked you a question, Mr. Bell.
She used to be my girlfriend. I know her whole.
Mr. Bell, your
Not
attorney's
her.
you're making statements against your interests.
I mean, I represent myself, man. I'm really fine with that. No
We haven't
disrespect, but I
asked
will
you
represent
that
myself.
either. Are you firing PD Armstrong at this point?
Yes, ma'am. I represent myself and I fire her. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll put that in my notes. Thank you.
All right. I would admonish you and warn you, you're representing yourself, you to know all the laws of Georgia and the rules of evidence, and you're breaking them pretty bad here. This is not your trial, this is your bond hearing, but statements made against your interests could affect my decision on how I rule regarding your bond.
I can't make bonds. It's not a signature, bro. I won't be able to make it. It's not, I won't be able to make it. I just did 14 months. On Clay County case, they gave me time served and daily reporting. I'm just here for the harassment Ayana put on me because she was mad at me, basically. But other than that, she gave me her information. I asked for it. She was my best friend. I just did something. When I got her social media, I did something I didn't supposed to do on her social media. And that's what made her cuss. That's what turned her against me. But in that, me and Ayana's from the same hood, Shady Park. We from the same hood as Gunner and Nietzsche, her mama and all them. I know her. We like celebrities out there on the street.
Okay. All right. All right. You've been charged. Hold on. I will just ask you to not speak anymore. I have enough information for the charge, and I'm going to give my ruling on the bond.
Gunner mama Nietzsche. Gunner mama and her mama is like sisters.
Okay. All right. I'm going to
You're trying to get her mama number.
I'm going to issue the $10,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order no further contact of any sort with the victim, Ayana Young. You're not to go around her. You're not to contact her through social media. You're not to try to reach her through other people, third persons or third parties, and you're not to be anywhere near her while you're on bond. If you make bond.
We deal with the same people, so it's like I could be dealing with them and she be dealing with
Well,
them.
what I said is you can't deal with those people so that they will contact her. What people do is they get a friend or a cousin to call the other person to have contact. So you can't have any third parties to get in contact with her for you or at your instruction.
I don't want to deal with Ayana, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's good. Then you'll be able to comply with the bond conditions. No further contact whatsoever by internet, by email, by phone, by third parties or anybody else. All right, thank you. Next case.
Position 7, Ms. Cobb.
Your Honor, really quickly, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Just back to the previous case, will you not be ordering a stay away?
Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. Mr. Bell. I think he can hear me. Mr. Bell, you're to stay away from the Fulton County Courthouse unless you have court or some official business to be there. But other than that, you're not to go to the Fulton County Courthouse. And that's at 136 Prior Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Who do we have next,
Position number
Deputy? 7.
Position number 7,
Okay.
Ms. Cobb.
Okay. This is 23 CR 000174G, Shanaria Cobb. You're charged with 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is December 22nd, 2022. Pretrial.
Third arrest. Last arrest was September 2020, simple assault out of Clayton County. That appears to be open based on the GCIC. February 2020 shoplifting. That's it.
Okay. All right. ASG Dillingham.
Yes, Your Honor. On December 22nd of 2022, officers responded to 3255 Chestnut Drive, where the defendant attacked the victim, Tyshawn Peters, who is the father of defendant's children. Upon arrival, officers observed 2 open scratches to Mr. Peters' face. And Your Honor, as pretrial mentioned, there is a open simple assault case from 2020. So for that reason, the state is requesting a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Tyshawn Peters, and a stay away order from his address, 3255 Chestnut Drive.
All right. PD Armstrong.
Yes, Judge, thank you. My client has a son, he's 1 year old, and he lives with her, and she's the sole provider for her family. She works at a major grocery store chain. She earns enough money where she's indigent, and she does have other expenses. So just given the fact that she's a single working mother, we're asking Your Honor to set a bond no higher than $1,000. And if memory serves me correctly, this is I'm not gonna say old case, but I believe that it was a warrant arrest from last year. So just given the age of the case and actually December 2022, well, there's been no indication that the state's made any contact with this alleged victim. So we'd also ask Your Honor to take that into consideration. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Tyshawn Peters. And I will order the stay away from 3255 Chestnut Street, I believe it was.
Your Honor, if I may, if it's not too late, to request a third-party transfer for the child.
All right, that he is the victim is the father of the child.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
We live together.
I'm sorry.
That's my mom, how we live together. He don't want to stay away from me. It was a misunderstanding.
Well, someone's going to have to. All right, I'm sure your attorney's going to tell you to not speak much more, but in the interim, Ms. Cobb, you will have to stay away from that location so that our victim will be safe. If you all are going to exchange visitation with the child, that must be done by a third party so that you don't violate your conditions of bond. All right. And I don't know, again, sometimes I will ask whose name is on the lease.
My name is on the lease. He's not on the lease. It's my mom's house. He lives there with us. We still communicate on the good note. He don't want to stay away from me. It was a misunderstanding.
I understand it's a misunderstanding and you can save that for trial, but for bond purposes, to make sure there are no conditions or no more incidents that happen, rather, at this home, I need you all to stay apart. I know that this happened in December and it's not quite a few weeks since it happened. I want to make sure everybody's going to be safe and that there are no more incidents.
Miss, you got it on mute.
And I understand it's your mom's home. And the only way to alleviate that would be if the victim moved out. But at this point, since the victim is still residing there, I can have Ms. Armstrong, making a petition for our motion for modification of the bond conditions if there is later discovered that Mr. Peters does not reside there. But right now, as far as the information that we have, Mr. Peters is residing there. You cannot reside there.
Judge, I would ask, and I'm sorry, but would you consider noting on the bond that she can go there if he's moved out, just because this is her mom's house? And it sounds like him staying there is temporary. So if he were to leave, can she go back?
I have done that at certain times, since I understand that it's her mother's home. And I know that she does have a small child, but what I'm concerned about is the continuous contact between the parties. And then, we don't want there to be another misunderstanding or another incident. And I don't know if this is happening in front of the child or not, but the only way I will allow you to stay there, Ms. Cobb, is if you go back with the police escort. You must have a police escort so that they can inspect the location and determine if the victim no longer resides there, then you can reside there. But when you get out, you must arrange for a police escort to go back there. But if you all are doing any visitation exchanges with the child, that must be done by a third party, maybe your mother, friend, or someone else, but not you and Mr. Peters. We want you to stay apart for now. All right.
Thank you,
That
Judge.
should conclude everything. All right.
Position 4, Branscrum.
This is 23 CR 0000165A. Will Richard Branscombe Jr., you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence. The offense date is January 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
Got 12 total. 11 of his history come out of Illinois. Last arrest was 2020, contempt of court. It was dismissed. 2020, it says local ordinance. 2019, 2017, 2016 local ordinance. 2014 trespass. 2012 battery conviction. And before that was the 06 local ordinance. That's it.
All right, ASG Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yesterday, while at home, a verbal altercation broke out between the defendant and a Miss Janine Lezama. That's Jeanne. Lezama is Lezama. The situation was escalated when the defendant threw a laundry basket at Ms. Lezama, striking her in the face and leaving several visible lacerations on her face. As pretrial stated, he does have 12 cycles, including that 2012 battery conviction out of Illinois. The defendant and Ms. Lezama do reside together in the same household. Therefore, the state believes he is in a unique position to persuade Ms. Lezama not to participate in this matter. The state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Lezama, a stay away from 7160 Boulder Pass, 1 day of anger awareness, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
All right, Dee Armstrong.
Thank you, Judge. My client is indigent. He's not working right now because I was actually involved in a really bad car accident recently, and it's unemployed due to his injuries. These are mere allegations. We were asked, Your Honor, to set a bond no more than $3,000 in this matter, and we would do any classes that you deem appropriate, if not a signature bond. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to order the $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Janine Lezama. Going to order a stay away from 7160 Boulder Pass. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Anything else, council?
Nothing from the state.
Okay.
Position number 9, Ms. Langford.
This is 23 CR 00171J. Keosha Langford charged with 1 count of false report of a crime, offense date 11/28/2022. Pre-trial.
First arrest. That's what I heard.
Okay.
She was recommended.
Okay. State.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred November 28th of 2022, where officers were dispatched on a stolen auto call to 565 McDaniel Street. Upon arrival, officers spoke with the defendant, who stated that her car was gone when she returned from work. Officers reviewed surveillance provided by the apartment complex, which contradicted defendant's story, as she was seen in the video leaving in the car she claimed was stolen. Officers then confirmed that the car was never in fact stolen, and the state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor, Miss Langford is 31 years old, and we would like to request for a signature on bond for his case. Your Honor, this is the first ever arrest that he has ever had, and also recommended for signature on bond. So we would like to request for that, Your Honor. She has one daughter and 10 years old, so she's going to take care of that. She works at Walden Security. She's been working there for about a year. She also has some college education, and that there was no criminal history. Thank you. And this happened in November 2028. 2022.
All right. I'm going to grant the $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And gonna order, well, that 565 McDaniel Street is her address, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so there's nothing further, no stay away or anything like that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Position 13, Miller.
This is 23 CR 0000173A, Jalen Miller, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
19 total. Last arrest was December 17th for criminal trespass. He just got put on probation for that on the 3rd of this month. Criminal trespass and loitering. It's 22 CR 008-378A as an apple. Also on probation for theft by taking. 16 SC 148178. You want more? Or
That's fine.
his last few arrests was for trespass. I can tell you that, from November, September.
Okay. All right. Let's see, ASG Rogers.
Yes, Your Honor. On January the 10th of 2023, police officers received a call from a David Baranowski. First name David, common spelling, last name B-A-R. INOWSKI. He reported that at his vacant home that he owned at the location of 813 Coleman Street Southwest, he observed a black man wearing a blue hoodie attempting to gain entry into the home. The officer arrived and he observed Mr. Miller standing at the front door through the victim's locked gate. Mr. Miller then began to walk next door and went under a fence. The officer made contact with Mr. Miller next to the location and gave him verbal commands to get on the ground. Mr. Miller claims that he was trying to buy the home. There was no for sale sign in the yard of the home. The state requests a $2,000 surety bond and a stay away order from that address of 813 Coleman Street Southwest. That's all, Your Honor.
All right. PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Miller is 25 years old and he has been here in Georgia for about 9 years. He was born in Louisiana and he came to Georgia with his family. He has not had any employment for the last 3 years. However, he successfully graduated from high school. We would like to request for a signature on bond for his criminal trespass. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of his past history, we would like to request for a maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond. And I order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And a stay away from the 813 Coleman Street Southwest. And I think that'll do it. All right.
Next, we have position 15, Ms. Nick.
This is 23 CR 000-160G. Shamika Nix, you're charged with 1 count of battery. The offense date is September the 8th, 2022. Pre-trial.
5th arrest. Last was 2012 forgery in the first. It was amended to forgery in the 4th. That was dismissed. Another 2012 forgery. Another 2012 forgery. A simple battery that was NOD from 2001. That's it.
Okay. ASG Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident occurred on September 8th, 2022 at 961 DeSoto Northwest, Unit 7. Officers arrived at the location and met with Ms. Josetta Passmore, that's spelled Josetta. Once meeting with Ms. Passmore, she said Ms. Nix, who is her home health care nurse, they were in an argument about food items. Ms. Passmore stated that Ms. Nix attempted to steal some grocery items, specifically meat that she received from her church. Ms. Passmore went on to state that Ms. Nix went to her vehicle, grabbed a cane and struck Ms. Passmore several times and also threw a cabbage at her. Ms. Passmore suffered a little bleeding and swelling as a result of this altercation. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from this address, 1 day anger awareness, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further, Your Honor.
And what is the address again?
The address is 961 DeSoto Northwest, Unit 7.
All right, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 46 years old. She is a native of Atlanta. She is the mother of 7 children, 3 of whom are still minors. My client works as a home health aide, and she has been doing this for some time, Your Honor. She denies that this incident happened. This is what she does for a living, and she would not strike anyone. She tells me that they had an argument because the alleged victim was under the influence of some kind of drugs that she takes, and that she was angry and she was upset because my client had taken her to the food bank to get some food. And for some reason, she thought that my client was taking her food when in fact my client was doing no such thing. Your Honor, the court should note that the police report actually says that when the officers came, even though the complaining witness alleged that she had injury, they saw absolutely no injury. And my client denies that this ever happened, Your Honor. In fact, she works for an agency and she does no longer go back there to that location. She doesn't mind having no further contact. She's already established that no further contact with the alleged victim, Your Honor, because she does not want to go back there based on the alleged victim's behavior towards her. My client has no violent history, Your Honor, no convictions or anything, and any arrests that she may have were all remote. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond because she doesn't have any money to pay a bond, Your Honor. This incident allegedly happened some time ago, and as the officers said they didn't see any indication of any kind of injury to the alleged victim. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I will grant a $2,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with the victim, Josetta Passmore, and a stay away from the 961 DeSoto Drive Northwest. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
Position 14, Ramsey.
You said position 14.
Yes.
I have, is that Mahapatra? Thought I heard
Ramsey
you
number 19. He's number 19.
call a different name. Okay, so you want to do Ramsey?
I apologize. It's supposed to be Mr. Ramsey.
Okay, all right, we'll do 19 Ramsey. 23 CR 000163F. Cleveland Ramsey, you're charged with 2 counts of giving false information to a law enforcement officer, fit state January 10th, 2023. Pre-trial?
All right, his last arrest was back in October, failed to appear. He's on probation, ag assault, 17 SC 150916. He got several probation violations, history out of North Carolina and Florida, and his total is 108. That's it.
All right. ASG Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident occurred January 10th, 2023 at 1100 Hammond Drive. It's noted that there are several restaurants at this location, and our report didn't state which restaurant Mr. Baker was in or Mr. Ramsey was in. But officers were dispatched to this location where they met with the manager of the restaurant at 1100 Hammond Drive, who stated Mr. Ramsey was inside the restaurant asking patrons for money. The manager of the restaurant asked Mr. Ramsey if he could be given a trespass warning. Officer Baker, who was dispatched, explained to Mr. Ramsey that the manager no longer wanted him on the property and that he would be issuing him a trespass warning. Officers then asked to see Mr. Ramsey's ID, and Mr. Ramsey stated he didn't have it. The officer then asked for his name and date of birth, to which Mr. Ramsey stated his name was Grover Ramsey and his date of birth was March 26, 1956. After verifications, Mr. Baker or Officer Baker determined that was not his correct name or date of birth when he once again asked Mr. Ramsey to give his information. Mr. Ramsey insisted that his name was Grover Ramsey, but this time stated his birth date was March 26, 1986. At this time, the officer detained Mr. Ramsey for making false statements, And Mr. Ramsey ultimately told Mr. Baker his correct name and birth date, which is Cleveland Ramsey, with a date of birth of September 1st, 1979. Your Honor, this defendant already has a bond. He has a $1,500 surety bond. The state is recommending to keep that the same, with $750 for both counts for the false name and the false birth date. And then also no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor,
Kim.
Yes, Mr. Ramsey is 43 years old and he has been unemployed for the last 6.5 months. And before that, he worked at a Waffle House as a cook at Union City. But, of course, we know that pandemic, a lot of restaurants have had a lot of hard time. So he was laid off and he has not been able to have any job. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond for this particular incident, since he is indigent and also he's qualified for public defender's service, since his financial resources are very, very tight. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to grant that $1,500 surety bond, and that's $750 on each, for a total of $1,500 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, and to stay away from the 1100 Hammond Drive. Is that the correct address, ASG Lewis, or is there a different address?
That's the correct address, Judge.
Okay. All right. And so, Mr. Ramsey, please do not go back to the 1100 Hammond Drive. I think there's several restaurants there. Just don't go back to that area while you're on bond. All right. Good luck to you. Mm-hmm.
Next, we have position 16, Amber Ponder.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000179Y. Amber Ponder, charged at 1 count of simple battery, a 2nd count of disrupting a public school. The offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Retrial.
Second arrest, last was back in June 2021. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rosenberg, ASG Rosenberg.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
This incident occurred yesterday at Langston Hughes High School in Fairburn, Georgia. Officer Calhoun, who is an officer with Fulton County Schools, was on duty when he was called to an active fight at the main office area. Apparently, Amber Ponder, Brittany Ponder, and Aisha Ponder were all called to the school to discuss a prior incident between Zaria Ponder and another student, Majesty Johnson. Ms. Martin, who is also going to be a case before the court today, was also called to the school regarding the prior fight. And when Ms. Martin approached the school, the Ponders, who were already awaiting in the lobby, confronted her with verbal threats, and they approached her. Ms. Barton struck Ms. Ponder on the head with a closed fist. And I'm going to apologize. My wife is coming home as we speak, and my dog is barking in the background, but I'll do my best to talk over that. So Ms. Martin, who's also before the court or will be, struck Ms. Ponder in the head with a closed fist. This caused a fight in which all the other Ponders became involved. The officer then separated everybody and had to restore order along with the other school officials. The school was placed on a soft lockdown during that time due to the commotion. And during the fray, Ms. Amber Ponder, actually kicked Quintisha Martin when the officer was sort of moving away with Ms. Martin, trying to separate them. So based on that, her 2 current charges, disrupting a public school and simple battery. Her current bond is $1,800. We were recommending that she remain on that bond. That would essentially be $900 each for each charge. Conditions of bond would be no contact with Majesty Johnson and Quintisha Martin. and to stay away from the Langston Hughes High School, which is located at 7510 Hall Road.
Give me the victims again, a Majesty Johnson.
Yes, and
Johnson
Majesty
and
Johnson, which is A''MAJHESTI. Johnson is the normal spelling. And the other individual is Quintisha Martin, QUENTI. Well, actually, I take that back. Quintisha Martin is the actual victim in this particular case. I apologize, Judge.
and not the
Yes,
Majesty
but
Johnson.
you'll need that name for some of the other individuals involved. I think these are positions 10, 16, 17, and 18 on the calendar.
Right, I see. Okay.
But in this case, it's Quintisha Martin, QUENTISHA.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 21 years old. She denies that she was involved in any physical way in this incident, Your Honor. My client has a 1-month-old child. She just recently came out of childbirth. She tells me that she went to the school because she has a niece who attends the school. She had a call from school authorities to come to the school, and she went to the school. She was in the lobby waiting with her mom and her aunt when they were attacked by the mother of a child who has been bullying her niece. She tells me that the video will show that she did not put her hand on this child at all because she herself is just still recovering from having a baby. She absolutely denies that she kicked anyone, Your Honor. My client really has no kind of record of violence. She is breastfeeding her young child. She needs to get back home to take care of this child. And as the police, that's the warrant states, the alleged victim was actually the aggressor in this case and was in fact arrested. I'm going to ask the court to give my client a signature bond so she can get out of jail to go back home and take care of her baby. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay.
She's not working also, Your Honor. I would like to point that out.
That she's 21 years old.
She is, Your Honor. The baby's only 1 month old, 4 weeks old.
All right, I will order the $1,800 signature bond through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order a stay away from the Langston Hughes High School at 7510 Hall Road, and not to go back there, Ms. Ponder, under any circumstance. You don't have a child that goes there, so you don't need to return there. I'm going to order no further contact with Quintisha Martin. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Your Honor, if I
Judge,
may,
break that bond down, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, 900 per charge.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Your Honor, would the court consider also no contact with a Majesty Johnson, which is the child
Yes.
who's involved as well? Thank you.
Yes, and no further contact with a Majesty Johnson.
Is a Majesty a minor?
I
She's 16.
believe so. 16,
Okay, so I'll
yeah.
put minor AJ.
There we go, initials, that's right, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologies.
Position 14,
I had a request to go into a breakout on this case. Is that still the case?
Yes, Your Honor, that's the case.
we can do that one last.
Okay.
Position matters.
Yes, we'll do 14 last. And who did you say again, Deputy?
Position 11 matters.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000172B. Jamarcus, not for sure, is it mattress or matrace? Not for sure how to pronounce the last name, so I apologize if I
Matress.
mispronounced. Matress,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass and damage to property. Offense date is 12/23/2022. Pretrial. You're on mute.
Fifth arrest, last arrest was back in March, theft by taking simple battery out of Marietta that appears to be open. 2021 failed to appear out of Dooley County. March 2021 suspended license. 2019 shoplifting out of Richmond County that appears to be open. It was accused. That's it.
All right.
He out of Richmond County hold.
ASG Rogers.
Yes, Your Honor. On December the 23rd of 2022, officers were dispatched to 134 Revere Turn in Fairborn, Georgia. The victim, Mr. Naquil Askew, first name Naquel, last name Askew Askew, stated that his ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jamarcus Matres, came to the home and damaged, knocked over a mailbox and threw items at the front door, but no noticeable damage was noticed on the glass. Mr. Askew did state that he did observe Mr. Matres doing this, and he did observe Mr. Matres leaving the scene in his gray Infiniti Q60. The state is requesting a $2,000 surety bond, a stay away from the address, and a no further contact with the victim, in this case, Nakia Askew. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, my client is 22 years old. He has a college degree and he is gainfully employed. He's gainfully employed. He denies that he deliberately damaged any property at this location, Your Honor. He tells me that he was leaving the location and his car hit the mailbox by accident. He did tell me that he called and spoke with Mom, who is the mother of his ex-boyfriend, who's someone that he knows, and he told her that he would pay for the damage to the mailbox. He was surprised that the police were called over this, Your Honor, since he'd already spoken with Mom and explained to her that he would pay for the damage. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. He's not a danger to anyone, Your Honor. This was just an accident, nothing further.
Okay. I'm going to order the $2,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order a stay away from 134, the Revere Turn.
Yes.
And then no further contact with the victim, Naquil Askew. Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Judge, you said 2,000 signature bond to the jail, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have position 18, Aisha Ponder.
This is case number 23 CR 0000177Y. Aisha Ponder, you're charged with 2 counts of simple assault and 1 count of disrupting a public school. Offense date January the 10th, 2023. Pretrial.
14 total. Last arrest was 2020. Identity theft, fraud, violation of RICO Act, conspiracy to commit a felony, theft by deception. Those were dismissed. 2020 theft by taking dismissed. 2015 probation. 2014 probation. 2014 misdemeanor possession of marijuana, giving false name, obstruction. See any violence in her history. She does have a car hold though for larceny. That's it.
Okay. All right, ASG Rosenberg.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
This is related to the earlier case that we just talked about. This occurred yesterday at Langston Hughes High School. Again, this was a fight that sort of broke out at the high school between family members of two students at the high school.
Yes.
Ms. Ponder essentially offered violence to Ms. Quintisha Martin and AJ, who was a minor. Based upon that sort of offering of violence and the fact that the school had to go on soft lockdown, her charges are disrupting a public school and 2 counts of simple assault. The current bond is $1,200. We are recommending that the bond remain at $1,200, which would be $400 per charge. That she have no contact with AJ and Quintisha Martin, and that she stay away from Langston Hughes High School, located at 7510 Hall Road in Fairburn.
All right.
Your Honor, yes, my client is 41 years old, Your Honor. She is the mother of 5 children and the grandmother of 1. She tells me that she was not at all involved in any fight, that it was the alleged victim, Miss Johnson, who actually struck out at her sister. Your Honor, my client has no kind of violence in her history at all. She's currently unemployed and is not in a position to pay a bond. She also believes that the videos from the incident will show that she was not at all violent with anyone, and that in fact she was not threatening Miss Johnson. Your Honor, the fact is that they went to the school, herself and her sister, because my client has a niece who attends that school and has been constantly being bullied by Miss Johnson's child. The principal and others sent for them to come up to the school to discuss what could be done about this. And while my clients, the Ponders, were waiting in the lobby area, that was when Mr. Johnson came. And even the warrant says that Miss Johnson was the one who struck one of the Ponders. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so she can get out of jail, Your Honor. She was not an aggressor in any of this. She's not working, not in a position to post a bond, nothing further.
Okay. I'm going to leave the bond at 1,200. 1,200 surety bond. 400 on each charge. Ms. Bridgewater.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and that's 400 on each times 3. Okay, doing my math. That'll be 1,200.
That's correct.
Bond. Okay, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Ms. Ponder, if this is unrelated to your bond, I don't want you to speak. You can call me.
All right, I want to order a stay away from Langston Hughes High School. I understand she has a niece there, not
Yes,
a
ma'am.
daughter. Okay, stay away from the school while on bond, and no further contact with Quintisha Martin and AJ, the minor. No further contact with them while on bond.
Ms. Ponder, is what you want to say related to your bond at all?
Of course, it's related to my bond. What's related to my bond is I have 2 charges for, I'm sorry, I didn't even understand what you were saying my charges were.
Oh, your charges, you're charged with 2 counts of simple assault and 1 count of disrupting a public school.
Yes, Your Honor, and they're saying I'm charged with 2 counts of simple assault, but in the police report, they have every person mixed up and wrong. They're putting the mother as the child and saying that my daughter is with the other person. This case is totally blown up and biased from the officer, which he arrested me without reading and questioning me on this case without reading me my Miranda rights. He is being biased on this case. That is a lie. We never touched her.
Your Honor, we would ask that the defendant says this for trial and not first appearance. Thank you.
Ms. Ponder, we can talk about that. We're just here for the bond hearing. Okay.
All right, thank you. That will conclude this matter.
Position 8, George.
Let me ask a quick question. Attorney Richardson, which case do you have?
We've got number 14, Your Honor, Mr.
Oh, okay.
Mohapatra.
Okay.
Thank
The one
you,
that
Judge.
yeah, I was just making sure it didn't, trying not to hold you too long. All right.
Thank
we'll
you.
we'll do 8 and then see if we can, we're actually trying to do that one last because we're going in a breakout. So let's see, we're almost there. Position 8 is Mr. George, is it?
Yes.
Okay. 23 CR 0000168F. Charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Offense date June 14th, 2022. Pretrial.
Second arrest, 2015, driving without a valid license, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. It got dismissed after PTI. That's it.
All right. ASG Dillingham.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 14th of last year, 2022, where officers responded to 1400 West Pacey's Ferry Road Northwest, which was the residence of, at the time, the residence of the victim, Christine George, who has since moved out of the residence. Defendant is her estranged husband, and this incident began when a verbal argument ensued, which escalated to defendant physically restraining Miss George and punching her in the face and in the arm. Upon officers' arrival, they observed lacerations to her arm and swelling to her cheek. And this altercation took place in front of their 2 children who are of the ages of 2 and 4. And for that reason, the state is requesting $6,000 surety bond, $2,000 for each count, no further contact with Christine George, and third-party transfer for the children, Your Honor.
All right. PD Armstrong.
Judge, my client doesn't qualify for my office's services after today, so he's been advised he needs to hire private counsel once he's released. But given my client's lack of any violent criminal history or convictions or arrests, we're asking Your Honor to consider a signature bond in this case. He is gainfully employed and will show up to court when called to do so.
Okay. All right, I'm going to grant the signature bond for the $6,000. That's $2,000 on each of the charges. And I will grant that signature bond through pretrial per judge. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. I'm going to order no further contact with Christine George. And I guess we don't have to do a stay away. I understand she doesn't reside there anymore.
That's correct.
Okay. And then third party transfer if there's any visitation granted with the children.
Judge, is this through pretrial?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you're done. Position 1, Allen.
Okay. This is 23 CR 0000161E, Elijah Allen. You're charged with 2 counts of willful obstruction on a law enforcement officer, 1 count of reckless conduct. Offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
This is third arrest. He had an open case for carrying a pistol or revolver under 18 years of age, carrying a weapon without valid license, 2 counts of obstruction, certain acts. I got an entering auto, 2 counts with intent to commit theft, 2 counts theft by receiving, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. That's open, 22 SC 182676. That's it.
All right. ASG Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yesterday, Officer Bush and Officer Tabor responded to 3012 Jonesboro Road. That is the gas station that is near Humphreys Elementary School, on reports of a group of young males in possession of guns and selling drugs. One of those individuals matched the defendant's description. When officers arrived at the gas station, the group dispersed. Officers did follow the defendant towards the apartment complex that he was running to. As he was running, the officers noticed that he was running kind of funny. And it turns out that nearby where the defendant was apprehended, a polymer 89mm firearm with an extended clip and a scratched off serial number was found abandoned in an open and public space. The defendant ultimately admitted that he dropped the gun. As pretrial stated, there is an open case right now involving possession of a firearm. The defendant has 3 open cycles. The 21 CP 199028, theft by receiving stolen property, the previously mentioned 22 SC 182676, theft by receiving stolen property and entering an auto, as well as an FTA that was issued just the 3rd of this month. That's 23 FTA 000024. That is related to that theft, 2 counts of theft by receiving stolen property and entering auto case. Because of the nature of this offense, Your Honor, and considering that this defendant does have an open firearms case already, and considering the state of the gun crisis in the city of Atlanta, as well as Fulton County, we are asking for a $12,000 split bond, Your Honor. That is going to be $1,000 surety bond for each of the willful obstruction counts and a $10,000 cash bond for the firearm offense, Your Honor. We're also asking for a stay away from the Chevron located at 3012 Jonesboro Road. And again, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
And so tell me your recommendation one more time.
We are asking for a $12,000 split bond. That'll be a $1,000 surety bond on count 1 of willful obstruction, a $10,000 cash bond on count 2 of reckless conduct, and a $1,000 surety bond on count 3 willful obstruction.
All right. All right, PD Armstrong.
Judge, I'm going to ask Your Honor to turn this into an opportunity rather than a conviction. My client is only 19 years old. He reports being 2 classes away from earning his high school degree. So I'm asking Your Honor to not only give him a bond that he can make, which is not $12,000. We're asking Your Honor to give him a bond that's no more than $3,000, to have a condition of his bond be that he get his GED and that he take a gun safety class. He does have a child that is on the way to be born any day now, and he's desperate to get out and see the child. And we understand that actions have consequences, but I also want Your Honor to acknowledge that, or at least consider just to say how it is, the bad police work that happened here. My client was running away from he was allowed to run away. He wasn't even stopped at that point. And the idea that there was any reasonable suspicion of criminal activity because of the way that he was holding his pants, I'm sorry, but that is a motion to suppress all day. So I am asking Your Honor to consider that with the bond the way it is, and to not make an example out of my client, given the political nature of gun issues in our city right now. He needs to be out, he needs to be working, he needs to be going to school to get his GED because he does have a child on the way. So I am asking Your Honor to allow him to do that instead of being in the Fulton County Jail. Thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may just reiterate one thing, this isn't the first time the defendant has been involved in a gun charge, and he even admitted that the gun was his. The information that was in the warrant was probable cause enough, and therefore I think all the information in it should stand in this hearing.
And the charges on this case are 2 counts of willful obstruction and 1 count of reckless conduct.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's not even charged with the gun matter in this case, Your Honor.
He is charged with the reckless conduct, being with the way that he discarded the firearm in a public and open place within the vicinity of a school. While he was not directly on school property, it is still concerning that he handled a firearm in this area in the manner that he did.
Once again, pleading with Your Honor to allow my client to be out of jail and get a GED and do a gun safety class and work.
And you said he was 2 classes away from graduating from high school, or
That's
he's
correct.
2 classes away from the GED?
From graduating from high school. So I've advised him this to see if he could either go back to school, or if not, either way, if there is some sort of structure in the bond where he has to do something to get his high school diploma or to get the GED.
Okay.
And of course, no weapons in the gun safety class.
I'm going to order a split bond. And I'm going to agree to order the $2,000 surety bond on the 2 counts of willful obstruction, $1,000 each. And then I'm going to order a and I'm sorry, this is not split. This is all surety bond. I apologize. And then I'll order a $5,000 surety bond on the reckless conduct. So it's not a split bond, Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay.
It'll just be $7,000 surety bond,
Mm-hmm.
5,000 on the reckless, and 1,000 on each of the obstructions, for a total of $7,000 surety bond. I will order that there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I will order that the defendant either complete high school or get his GED. And I'm a little inclined on the gun safety class, but there is no gun charge here, so I'm not going to order that at this time. Since he's in high school, I considered a curfew. Don't know how the state feels about that. That would be the only other thing that I would add, unless I have any objections to that.
The state would not object to a curfew.
Okay. Let me do a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And that should conclude everything. Anything else, council?
No, Judge, thank you.
All right, thank
Further
you.
from the state.
All right.
Position 22, Zachary.
This is 23 CR 0000169J. James Zachary, you're charged with 1 count of simple assault, family violence. The offense date is January the 10th, 2023. Pre-trial.
15 total. He was arrested in 2011 for suspended license, 2010 suspended license, no low. Sale of marijuana conviction in 2009. In 1997, let me do this math. He was in DeKalb County. He got a 30-year sentence for drug possession. He gave him 9 years of service and 21 years probation. So based on that math, he would still be on probation. I got a 2016 out of Tennessee, Nashville, assault, domestic bodily injury. 2016, 2 counts of theft of property. 2010, suspended license. That's it.
Okay. ASG Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 10th, 2023 at 1173 Moton Avenue. Officers arrived at the location and met with Mr. Zachary as well as Junior Donald, who is a minor in this case. Donald, who is 13, stated he was outside of his mother's bedroom and could hear his mother, who was Freda Durden, that's spelled Freda, and her fiance, who is Zachary, arguing. Donald stated that Zachary threw a pack of wipes at Ms. Durden after she told Donald to start packing his things. Donald then states that he heard Mr. Zachary use some explicitives and say he would kill her and her child. At this point, Donald came into his mother's defense trying to protect her, and Zachary threw a basket at him and spit at him as well. Ms. Durden attempted to break up Zachary and Donald, but Zachary lunged towards Donald, who had already retrieved a pocket knife for him and his mother's protection. Zachary suffered a minor laceration from this incident. The state is requesting a $3,000 surety bond, no future contact with either Mr. Donald or Ms. Durden, to stay away from this location, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Give me that location again.
Yes, Your Honor. It's 1173 Moton Avenue. That's MOTON.
All right. PD
Can
Kim.
I stop 1 second, Judge? Is it
Yes.
Junior David or Junior Donald?
Junior Donald.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry,
Right,
Judge.
go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead, PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Zachary, is 47 years old, Your Honor. He has been here in Georgia for all his life. He does have a bachelor's degree from the University of Phoenix for business management. And Your Honor, he is gainfully employed at Logic Logistics as a truck driver. He's been doing that for about a year. And he has a newborn baby who is 5 months old with his fiancée. Your Honor, my client was actually a victim, and he's the one who called the police because he was stabbed by his stepson, who is minor, 14 years old, 3 times. He was sent to the hospital. He had to get some injury taken care of. Your Honor, my client is a victim of the violence. However, the story got twisted and my client is in the jail instead of somebody else who is a juvenile and who has to be protected. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond. He does not have any violence. And he's the one, again, I just want to emphasize, he's the one who called for the help. He was stabbed. That's about it, Your Honor. Thank you. Signature bond from.
Your Honor, if I may, we're not going to argue the facts here, but the minor in question is only 13 and he had a pocket knife. And there was a small injury to Mr. Zachary, who lunged towards the minor child.
Okay.
Mr. Zachary, unless this is directly related to the bond, please stay silent. You have a constitutional right to keep it silent.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and order a surety bond, and that amount will be $5,000. I'm going to order a stay away from the 1173 Moulton Avenue. And I'm going to order no further contact with Freda Darden and the minor child, Junior Donald. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I guess that'll conclude the case.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
No, you may not, unless you have a question about the bond conditions, which is to stay away from both of these parties, and to have no further contact with them. You can ask your attorney and she will answer your questions when she comes to see you tomorrow, the next day. All right, because you're going to state something that's against your interest. This is not your trial, it's your bond hearing.
I'm saying, man, what I want to say is I was assaulted with my newborn.
I said to you, if you had a question about your bond, you could do that. I didn't want to hear anything about the facts. That is not what this hearing is about. So your attorney will come and speak to you. Your bond is a $5,000 surety bond with no drugs, alcohol, or weapons on bond. Stay away from 1173 Moulton Avenue, and you'd have no further contact with Freda Durden or Donald, Junior Donald. Okay.
I have a child with, she's not even assaulted or a victim of
Hold
the
on a second. You have a child with whom?
with Frida Durden. I'm the one, my name is.
Hold
on the-
on, hold on. I just asked you one question.
Hold on.
And so how old is the child that you have with Ms. Durden?
5 months. I was attacked by a help my 5-month
Okay.
old. We don't have a butcher knife.
Hold on.
I was attacked with a butcher knife.
Can
by
you
my
all mute
son.
him? I've asked you not to speak about the facts. So what I'm going to do is if Ms. Durden allows visitation with the 5-month-old, that must be done by a third party. Since you cannot go over to that address or that location or have any contact with her while you're on bond, that 5-month-old visitation must be conducted by a third party. So that you don't have to have any contact with her. You don't need to speak with her. You don't need to talk with her. But if she's going to allow visitation, it must be done by a third party so that you don't break your bond conditions. Thank you. Next case.
Position 14, the breakout case. Come on, sir.
And what happened to 17? The Brittany Ponder.
And position 10.
Yep, and 10. They may have bonded out, I guess. Oh, those are those other co-defendant cases.
What happened
Yes.
with Martin?
That's the one we're talking about, 10.
I was
Right.
told that Miss Martin was bonded out.
Shane bonded
Bonded
out.
out. Okay.
Okay. So that's 10 and what was the other one?
17.
10 and 17 bonded out. Okay.
Did we do?
What were you asking pre-trial?
What happened with Torres State?
That one,
It's not on the calendar. That's why I was asking. He was on the pool sheet though.
oh, I don't know about that one. Deputy, do you know anything about Torres?
Don't worry about it. Judge,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you this sheet while you go to the breakout. This,
Okay.
utility bill waiver.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So we're doing, finally doing Mr. Richardson's case. Mr. Richardson, we apologize. We try to go as quick as we can, but I thank you for your patience.
I thank you for your patience too, Judge.
Okay, let's see. What about this breakout? I see that this is case
17 didn't bond
number,
out.
I'm sorry?
Number 17, Brittany Ponder did not bond out.
Oh, she didn't?
No.
Okay, well,
Do they not bring her?
Yeah, we're gonna interview her. She's gonna waive her appearance.
Oh, she's gonna waive, okay.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
I need a
who made
waiver.
that announcement?
I'm sorry,
I said, who made that announcement?
looks like court associate,
Right,
no?
I'm talking
yeah,
about
because I
as
don't
far
have
as
a
the waiver.
waiver. I don't have a waiver.
Right, only her attorney could waive her presence, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Who's representing Brittany Ponder?
Conflict attorney should be representing.
And where is
McLeod
Miss
still-
McLeod? She may have stepped away.
Okay, well,
We'll hold for a second on 17.
we'll
to
ask
see.
that she's brought because,
No, she's gonna get interviewed upstairs because she has COVID. So they're interviewing her now.
so it's gonna be a medical reset. Well, I just want the proper announcement because only her attorney can waive her presence.
Right, and we need the form,
And I don't want anyone talking about a Riverside issue, so.
right? See, deputy, while we're in breakout, see if you can get some more information for us, please. Or
And Miss-
maybe that's where Miss McLeod is.
I see she's still on the
interviewing her.
line. Ms. McLeod, I don't know if she can hear us or. if the
She
court
may
can
be doing the
appoint her.
interview.
Yeah, she might be doing the interview now. That's what they're saying. Miss McLeod is interviewing her right now.
So we may be having a hearing. Let's get Mr. Richardson done and then we can, before we get off, let's
Okay.
make sure
Thank
that
you.
we're correct. Yes, thank you for that. This is 23 CR 000-170A. Mr. Mahapatra, and I apologize if I've mispronounced the last name. I'm sure I have. Charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence, and a 2nd count of criminal trespass, both with the offense date of January the 10th, 2023. And he
Are
is
we going in a
represented
breakout?
by Attorney Max Richardson. I was going to announce the case, and then I need to ask who requested the breakout. The state?
The state, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And is this MH or what do we have?
That's correct.
It is. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Richardson, we're gonna do a breakout real quick so that Mr. Walker, and who else would you like in the breakout?
ASG Rogers.
ASG Rogers. And I normally don't have my defense attorney in there.
Well, no, the defense attorney,
You can let him come in?
yeah, we would like the defense attorney to be present.
Okay.
I think I'm entitled to be.
Yes, you are.
We want
This
you,
is
Mr.
the-
Richardson.
This is the new year. It's been a long day. I apologize, Mr. Richardson. So
No problem,
us
Judge.
and Miss Bridgewater, anyone else? All right, my Zoom master is getting ready to move us to a breakout.
You're
Judge,
muted.
you're muted.
Okay.
I usually, Mr. Richardson, let the defendant briefly know what we've done in the breakout so that I do have something on the recording on the record. And it looks like I have the relatives. I have your clients here, Mr. Richardson. The parents of your client.
You're muted.
Yes, I'm the
Oh,
father.
Mr. Richardson, you're muted too. When we come out of the breakout, I think it leaves us muted. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. And I was saying that we normally put a little bit on the record just in general for this. And I understand I have the parents, it looks like, here now. Okay.
You're the father, Your Honor.
Father, okay. And brother, maybe? Yes, okay. We have discussed the case due to some of the sensitive issues in our breakout on this Zoom format. And I'm going to announce on the record for position 14. I've already called that case. What we're doing, we're going to give Mr. And can someone pronounce the last name for me? Mahapatra or
Mohapatra.
Mohapatra. Thank you.
Perfect.
I apologize for
No,
mispronouncing.
no problem. No problem.
Yeah, Mohapatra. We are going to grant a signature bond in the amount of $3,000 through pretrial. However, if Mr. Mohapatra is in any type of situation where he cannot report, just let Mr. Richardson know, your attorney, and he will inform them if he is unable to report. We're going to order an MH eval with your private doctor at your cost. And I'm asking that that be done within 48 hours or at least scheduled so that we don't go too long without him getting that eval and
Okay.
getting back whatever treatment plan and medication that they want him to be on. I'm going to also order that he stay away from 850 Garden Gate Path, and he cannot reside there while he's on bond. And he will have no further violent contact with our victim, Dipita Mohapatra. He can have contact as long as it's not violent, so that in case she needs to do what she needs to for his treatment, that she can participate in that and be able to facilitate that. Because normally I would say no further, but we'll let it be nonviolent. Also, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons other than any prescriptions that are prescribed to him while he's on bond. And if there are any other matters subsequently that need to be taken up, Mr. Richardson would know to do a motion for any bond modifications that may need to be done. But he should be out within 24 hours, and then hopefully you can get him to the next place that he needs to be.
His orientation.
With regards to
Yeah, it'll be on Zoom. His orientation.
Okay.
They'll let him know when to report. When he gets ready.
What was that
Because
pretrial?
there is an issue of competency. Maybe his attorney could attend those pretrial meetings via Zoom with the client.
Okay, yes, Mr. Richardson, can you do that so that you will know the contact information in the rules and regulations for pretrial?
Who do I contact with pretrial with regards to this, Judge?
Right, they're gonna
Is there a
Mr.
contact?
Right, Mr. Howard
they
is on the line. Mr. Howard is on the line, and did you put your email in the chat, or have you filed an entry of appearance is my other question, actually.
I did file an entry of appearance, and I did put my email address in the chat. I sent my email address to Mr. Walker.
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, he just sent it to you, right?
Okay, I'm gonna send it to
Tucson Howard.
No, don't send it to me.
Don't send it to you?
Oh. Well, I'm getting ready to go. I'm about to chat the attorney. And let him
Yes.
know who to contact at pretrial supervision.
Okay. Gotcha. He's gonna send you the information, Mr. Richardson.
Getting her name now. So.
Okay.
and that'll just be once a month, correct, Mr. Howard? The reporting.
Yeah, it's level 1, so usually once a month.
Right. Okay. But you say, don't give out your name. I'm so sorry. You're
Nah,
the
I was
first
good.
one I always think of.
Excuse me, Judge Mincy, I have a quick announcement for position 17. They waived their appearance, and that's actually Ms. McLeod's case.
Okay.
Is Miss McLeod on the line?
Did she come back?
Yes, I'm here.
There you go.
I
Okay.
wasn't gone.
All right, Judge, we're completed here in courtroom 2.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
We just want to make sure you're on the same page. Will you be filing a waiver?
I have already filed
I
it. I
already have
sent it in. Yes,
Okay.
I
I
have it.
emailed it. Okay.
Go ahead.
Great
Miss
job.
McLeod has got it.
Thank you.
All right, I put it in the chat.
Okay.
That's cases per judge too.
Per judge.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Do we have an email address for Ms. Childs or Ms. Flores?
It's first dot last name at fultoncountyga.gov.
Mr. Richardson, I'm gonna put my email in the chat to you, and you can just email me any questions you have.
Yeah, please. My experience is calling these folks. You leave messages, they don't call you back. And
I understand. So I just put my name in the chat to everyone. You should be able to see it. Don't
I see
hesitate.
it.
Give
Thank you,
me
Mr.
your
Walker.
email, and I'll help coordinate with you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I also handle the
I know.
I handle the competency calendar. So, Ms. Bridgewater, are we going to schedule this for a competency calendar?
The
maybe?
next one is the 26th
Okay.
of January.
Okay.
So I can put it on that calendar,
Mhm.
That's kind of early.
2 weeks out.
Just to give us an update, even if he hasn't had the evaluation conducted, just to report to the court what the status is. And
Right.
that's at 11 a.m. that'll be at 11 a.m. on a Thursday.
Well, actually, because he's getting out on a signature bond, he will be reset further notice, but I'll just go ahead just so we can follow him and put him on that
Correct.
calendar. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Will I be notified, or is this my notice?
As attorney of record, you should be notified, but let me go ahead and give it to you now so that you'll know. It's gonna be the 26th of January. Okay? And like Mr. Walker said, he will be in touch with you.
Okay.
Same link
Okay.
as today, Attorney Richardson.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Was the last case?
I haven't
No, we
addressed
have
Ms.
one more.
Ponda yet, Brittany Ponda. She waived her appearance.
Well, I thought she brought it up.
But Mr. Richardson, you're excused if you like.
Okay.
And the family
Thank
can
you.
prepare to go to the
Over to the jail.
jail.
And pick him up from there.
Yes.
Well, it's gonna be a while now.
Well, it is going to
Yeah,
be a while.
I'll explain all that to him. I'll explain that to him.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
patience. Appreciate it.
Okay, and I am in possession of this waiver right now, so we can go ahead and hear this case.
Okay. Hold on one quick second. Let me sign this real quick. There we go. Trying to do a couple of things at one time. Let me see. Hold on one quick second. All right, Mr. Howard, do you have that?
No.
Let me see, you know, it's gonna be a little slow, but hold on. I
Yeah,
should have sent,
we could do the case and I'll let you know.
okay, I should have sent it to Fulton as well.
Yeah,
I
got
mean,
it. It
to
just
both.
came
You
through.
got it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. All right, this is the last case, which is 23 CR 000-178Y, Brittany Ponder. She is charged with 1 count of disrupting public school, 2 counts of simple assault, January 10th, 2023. I am familiar with the facts of the case, with the brawl a little bit that happened at the high school, Langston Hughes, on January the 10th. And this is the other family member. Give me the relation. Is this another aunt or?
This is mom, Your Honor. She
This is mom.
has a
Okay,
child
so
at the
this is the
school.
mother. Okay.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Rosenberg, that would be different from what you've already said? If you don't, except that this is the mom and not the aunt.
Sure. Yeah, no, nothing further, Your Honor. I think her current bond is $1,200. We're asking that it remain at $1,200 and similar no contact with AJ and Quintisha Martin and stay away from the Lane Hughes High School.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe this is my client's first arrest. That's my understanding. She's 34 years old. She's employed, never been in any trouble, Your Honor. She was summoned to the school by the principal, and that was why she was there, because the principal just wanted to address this whole issue about her child being bullied. My client, of course, denies that she was involved in any brawl, and she maintains that she was attacked by the complaining witness who was arrested, Your Honor. I would ask the court for signature bond for my client, given that she has a clean record, and the judge, the court understands what happened there. Nothing further.
Thank you. I guess I did forget to ask pretrial. Is that what you have pretrial? I'm sorry.
First arrest.
First arrest. Gotcha. I didn't mean to leave you out. I was rushing through. All right. Let me do this for mom. I will give her the $1,200 signature bond. I'm going to give her pretrial signature bond through pretrial. That's $400 on each of the 3 charges for a total of $1,200 signature bond through pretrial per judge. I am going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I'm going to order the anger awareness course through pretrial. And stay away from Langston Hughes High School at looks like 7510 Hall Road.
Well, Your Honor, she does have a child there. She may need to go there, and her child has not been barred from school. That's my understanding.
Well, the problem is this all happened there. She's gonna have to, I've ordered all of them to stay away. How old is this child, by the way?
16 years old, Your Honor.
16?
16, yes.
Child is big enough to speak and do for herself and come outside. Mother can pick her up and drop off. Let's say that, but she's not allowed to go inside of the school. I'm sure they can do Zoom or phone calls, but if she has to pick up or drop off daughter, she can do that in the car pickup line or the parking lot, but she is not to go inside that school. She's not to have any contact with the victims in this case. And I'm going to go one step farther and including the staff that's involved here, but she is to have no further violent contact with any other staff or persons that work at that school. So add that additional language for me, Ms. Bridgewater.
No further violent contact with faculty and staff?
Of the school. And then no further contact with the 2 victims.
Gotcha.
And then I guess you make sure you add that this defendant can only pick up and drop off daughter in the parking lot or the what do they call it, the line,
The pickup line, you know.
pickup line. It's been so long to that
Carpool.
carpool line, something, whatever
Carpool,
they call it.
yes.
Yes.
Boy, I've been in it many times.
Yeah, well, I'm usually running late in the carpool line, okay, coming from court or something usually.
Okay.
So, but yes, and only that, but she cannot go inside. the school.
Okay.
While on bond. And I guess that's it. Did I say no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond? I
You
can't
did,
remember.
Your Honor.
I did, okay. All right, and that should be it.
Your Honor, I don't want to belabor it, but can I ask real quick, position 10,
Yes.
Quintisha Martin, did we establish she posted bond?
She did.
She
Okay.
did,
Thank you.
yes. Well, we're getting ready to reconcile in a second too.
Okay.
And go through that.
Just let me know when everybody's ready.
All right. You're leaving us, Mr. Howard? Well, he unmuted and then he muted back.
Okay, well,
Mr. Howard, we're gonna reconcile. Are you staying or leaving?
it's 4:30. Oh, he gone.
He's gone. He's probably gone.
He's gone. Okay, with that being said, if we're ready, let's do this. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is January the 24th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $7,000 good bond. Position 2 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $10,000 good bond. Position 4, SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. Position 5, SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Position 6 is reset further notice with a $2,000 total SOB through pretrial. Position 7, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 8, reset further notice with a total $6,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,500 SOB through pretrial. Position 10 is reset further notice as the defendant was released. Position 11 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $10,000 good bond. Position 13, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 14 is reset to the competency calendar with a $3,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 15 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 16 reset further notice with a total $1,800 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 17 is reset further notice with a $1,200 total SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 18 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,200 total good bond. Position 19 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,500 total good bond. Position 20 reset further notice with a $3,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 21 is going to the SAP calendar with a $15,000 total split bond. And position 22 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
I'm good.
No, ma'am.
Okay, Judge is on his way to you. Everybody have a wonderful
thank you.
evening.
All right, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.